Time to grab your Play-Doh and let's get started learning about God. Today, we are learning about the beginning of the church in the book of Acts. At first, the church was doing great. It was growing. It was getting so big. This worried some of the Jewish leaders and the leaders of the nations. So the church was in trouble. The next thing you know, people who believed in Jesus were being thrown in jail, hurt, and even killed. Now, the believers are scattered, trying to stay safe. But they share God's news with other Jews, but no one else. Let's make the letter B for believing in Jesus. I'm going to make 2 snakes to start for my 2 pieces of the letter B. There's the first one. Are you making your snakes? What color Play-Doh are you using today? See, I've got yellow. Yellow is a happy color. Okay. I think that's going to be good. The second one needs to be a long one. That's a D, not a B. There we go. Now I've got the letter B for the believers in Jesus. The word got out that some men in Antioch shared the good news with people who weren't Jews. God was helping them, and a bunch of people decided to follow God. When the church was in Jerusalem, heard about this, they sent Barnabas. Who did they send? Barnabas. He was so happy with what he saw. He said, "Always be faithful to God. Serve Him with all of your heart." Then Barnabas went to Tarsus to find Saul. When he found him, they went back to Antioch. This is the first time that the people who followed Jesus Christ were called Christians. Wow, this happened in Antioch. The people who followed God, what were they called? Christians. Let's make the letter C for Christians. Even today, we believe in God. We believe in Jesus Christ. So we're called Christians. How cool is that? There is my letter C. C for Christian. During this time, King Herod began to hurt people who were part of the church. He even had James killed with a sword. Herod saw that many of the Jews liked this, so he decided to arrest Peter too. Oh no, what was going to happen to Peter? Herod threw him in jail, guarded by 16 soldiers. That's a lot of guards. The church was so worried about Peter, so they constantly prayed for him. How many guards were there? 16. So let's make the number 16. And we're going to need 2 pieces. One for the number 1 and one for the number 6. We'll leave it straight. Now the number 6. While Peter was in jail, guarded by 16 guards, what did the church do? They prayed for Peter. There we go. There's my 16. How did yours turn out? God heard their prayers. One night, Peter was bound with 2 chains, and he was sleeping between 2 big soldiers. Plus, there were soldiers guarding the door. Oh man, but suddenly an angel of the Lord was standing there, and the room filled with light. The angel woke Peter up and said, "Hurry, get up." The chains fell off. Peter got dressed and followed the angel. Peter thought he was seeing a vision. He didn't know it was really happening. The gate opened all by itself, and they walked out, walking about a block, and suddenly the angel just disappeared. Let's make an angel, the one that rescued Peter. I'm going to need a head. And then I think I need a body. Now, most of the angels that we read about in the Bible were men. A lot of times when we look at pictures, they're either children or they're girls. Let's give our angel a couple of legs. And some arms. And you know, the way we know of angels is by their wings. Now in the Bible, most of the angels that came to see people, we don't hear about them having wings, just looking like men. Since we know angels have wings in stories, that's what we think of. We're going to go ahead and give our angel wings, just to help us remember that it was an angel who rescued Peter from jail, even though there were 16 guards. There we go. We have a head and a body, 2 arms and 2 legs. I've got one shorter than the other, and a couple of wings. You can even give yours a face if you want. Maybe some hair. When Peter realized what had happened, he knew that God really sent an angel to rescue him. How cool is that? He went to Mary's house, to John's mother's house, where many people were praying. Peter knocked on the door. A servant girl named Rhoda went to answer it. She recognized Peter's voice and was so excited, she forgot to answer the door. She ran to tell everybody in there that Peter was at the door. And the people said, "Rhoda, you are crazy. Peter's in jail." Let's make a door. Because what was Peter doing? Knocking at the door. You can make a big door that has a round top. You can make a square rectangle door, whatever kind you want. I'm going to make a door like what's on my house. I just have one big, tall rectangle door. Let's use this like a rolling pin. If you have a rolling pin, that's cool. Now it needs to be a rectangle because it's a door. Yes, mine actually has a little bit of a rounded top. There we go. And we need a doorknob. There we go. My door doesn't have any windows in it. What does your door look like? Now, what about Peter? Rhoda's run in and told everybody that Peter's at the door. They're saying she's crazy, and Peter is still standing there knocking at the door. When the group of believers opened the door, they were amazed. It really was Peter. He told them, "Shh, be quiet." And then he told them how God sent an angel to help him escape. He asked them to tell the others, and then Peter left. The next day, the soldiers were very upset. They did not know what happened to Peter. Herod looked everywhere, but no one could find him. Herod was so angry, he ordered the guards to be killed for letting Peter escape. Let's make a sword. Those poor guards, they're going to lose their lives because King Herod is mad that the prisoner escaped. Do you know how to make a sword? A sword needs a point on the end, right? Nice and sharp point. And then that's the part where we hold it, a little handle. While you keep working on yours, I'm going to keep teaching. One day, Herod was wearing a beautiful royal robe and sitting on his royal throne, giving a royal speech to the people. The people shouted, "This is the voice of God, not a man." Uh-oh, was Herod really a god? But Herod didn't correct them. He let them keep thinking that. He took credit for being a god. So God didn't take too kindly to that. An angel of the Lord made King Herod sick. This is disgusting. He was eaten by worms inside of him, and then he died. Gross. Let's make some worms. Because what was inside of Herod? The worms. And all those little worms ate King Herod's insides, and then he died. That's disgusting. He should not have let people think that he was speaking for God, because he wasn't saying anything that God wanted. There's my little worms. You can keep making some while I keep talking. The message of God was spreading. No one can keep God's work from being done. No one. After Barnabas and Saul finished their work in Jerusalem, they returned to Antioch and took John Mark with them too. They had more work to do there. Let's make a Bible. What was the good news that they were sharing? It was the good news of Jesus, and we read about the good news of Jesus in our Bibles. Try to straighten out my edges of my book. The Bible is a book full of letters and history, all kinds of stuff. And then I'm going to put a cross on the front of my Bible. Kind of hard to see, but it's there. And we can open up and read God's Word. So today we learn that the church was in trouble. The king was even killing its teachers. But God answered the church's prayers and sent an angel to rescue Peter. King Herod let people say his words were from God and not man. This made God angry because it was a lie about him. So Herod died. The church kept growing though. God is more powerful than over 1,000 men. No one can stop God. Now I have an activity for you. You'll need some paper, a pencil, and some scissors. I want you to cut out 11 little worms and write one word on each worm. The words are the ones that Barnabas spoke. He said, "Always be faithful to God. Serve him with all your heart." So on one you'll write always, on another you'll write be, on another you'll write faithful. You get the idea. Always be faithful to God. Serve him with all your heart. And after you've cut them out and written those words, then mix them all up and try to put the worms in order. Then I have another worm thing for you. It'll be fun, and it's with a straw. Well, the paper from the straw and some water. If you want to do that, just watch the next video. And then I'll see you next week for more of God's Word.